Okay, for this exercise, we ask us to draw the graphic presentation of requirement engineering process. Do you remember the activities involved in this process? Yeah, the activities involved in the requirement engineering process. Normally, this one we can find it easily in the PDF too. It's in the second chapter. Someone has some ideas about this one? The activities involved in the requirement engineering process. How many activities have we here during the process? How many activities involved in this requirement engineering process? Some ideas? Okay, small in this, we have 4 activities. 4 activities involved in the process. Okay, in the requirement engineering process. So which 4? Which 4 activities? Which 4 main activities are involved in the requirements engineering process? Specification. Yeah, requirement specification is one of the 4 main activities. Very good. Thank you, Saji. Yeah, requirements specification and others. Requirements validation, yeah. What else? Requirements management. This one and other things. Oh yeah, elicitation and analysis. Yes, yeah, requirements elicitation and analysis. This one is the in fact, if we follow the process, elicitation and analysis is the second one. Later we have specification, and at last we have the validation. But the first one, what is the first activity involved in this process? The first activity. In our second chapter, you can find it. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Saji. Yeah, perfect. Feasibility study. Yeah, you see it's here. Not this one. Yeah, this one. You see these 4 activities involved in the requirements engineering process. And when we ask us to draw the graphic presentation of requirements engineering process, we should draw this. Yeah, this one. You see, we have the feasibility study as stated by Saji. We have the requirements elicitation and analysis, requirements specification, and the requirements validation. These 4 activities, they have a corresponding objects like feasibility report, system models, user and system requirements document. Also between them, there are some activity, some interactions. Yeah, we should make clear of these relationships between these activities. So pay attention to this graphic presentation. Okay, and then for the next one, describe the difference of functional requirements and non-functional requirements. These exercises we had it in our homework. Yeah, we'll pass it quickly. Yeah, this one, it is in the 4th chapter. Yeah, we had talked about functional and non-functional requirements in the 4th chapter, this one. Normally, it's not too far. Yeah, you see here, functional and non-functional requirements. For functional requirements are some statements or of services the system should provide, how the system should react to particular inputs, and how the system should behave in particular situations. Also, functional requirements may state what the system should not do. And usually with the functional requirements, we describe the services that the system should provide and how the system should react to particular inputs and how the system should behave in particular situations. It's important. That's why I repeat it. And for the non-functional requirements, they describe the constraints on the services or functions offered by the system, such as timing constraints, constraints on the development process, standards, etc. And these non-functional requirements often apply to the system as a whole rather than individual features or services. You see, it's for the difference between these two kinds of requirements. And next one is about the difference between user requirements and system requirements. This is also in the 4th chapter. For the user requirements, we should describe the functional and non-functional requirements in such a way that they are understandable by system users who don't have detailed technical knowledge. User requirements are defined using natural language, tables, and diagrams, as these can be understood by all users. And for the system requirements, there are more detailed specification of system functions, services, and constraints than user requirements. They are intended to be a basis for designing the system. They may be incorporated into the system contract. Also, system requirements may be defined or illustrated using system models. Yeah, you can have different answers for this kind of exercise, but the principle you should get it. Yeah, it's as we said, it's also in the 4th chapter. Normally, it's somewhere near. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Here you see here we have talked about the system requirements. You see user requirements is here have to be understandable by end users and customers who have not a technical background. System requirements are more detailed requirements and may include more technical information. And you can detail them a little apart from these ones. Here is the fifth one. Now we'll continue with the sixth. Describe the process activities of requirements elicitation. Some ideas about this one? The process activities of requirements elicitation. Okay, and in this, it is also in the fourth chapter. The requirements engineering process is an iterative process including requirements elicitation, requirements classification, yeah, requirements specification, but Kaya, for the process activities, yeah, you have Kaya has mentioned the requirements discovery and the requirements specification. Saddam has mentioned requirements classification, and organization also, yeah. And then Kaya has completed with requirements prioritization and negotiation with Sajid. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, you have completed perfectly this exercise is here. Normally, also the first chapter, it should be somewhere. Yeah, here. You see, these are the 4 activities of the requirements elicitation. Yeah, when you answer this question, not only a graphic, you can choose this you can choose to describe it with the graphic presentation. You can also write it with text, but you should also describe a little each activity. For example, for the requirements discovery, we may say it's the process of interacting with stakeholders to discover their requirements. Domain requirements are also discovered at this stage. The requirements classification and organization groups related requirements and organizes them into coherent clusters. For prioritization and negotiation, we prioritize requirements and resolve requirements conflicts. And for the requirements specification, requirements are documented and input into the next round of the spiral. These 4. Yeah, we have also some description here you see for these process activities. So you can find most of them in the slides in the PDF. Yeah, the next one, 7th, describe the basic composing of client-server model. This one, it should be in the 6th chapter, architectural design. The basic composing of client-server model. Any ideas about this one? Sorry. The major components of client-server model. In the 6th chapter, You get it? Saji has proposed the client-server model describes how a server provides resources and services to one or more clients. Yeah, you have given a definition of client-server model, and here we ask us the major components of this model. Thank you, Saji, but a little, yeah, um, a little deviated from the question. We should describe the basic composing of client-server model. That means the components of this model. But even from your descriptions, we can have some ideas. You see who are involved in this model. A server, some resources and services, client. Yeah, we have these components, and in with some professional words, how to describe them, the major components of client-server model. As we say in the 6th chapter, here we have listed these 3 major components. Okay. Um, so can you precise these 3? Okay. The major components of client-server model. Even now we have already know where we can find these ones. Can you list them here? Saddam. Set of standalone servers which provide specific services such as printing, data management, etc. Set of clients which call on the devices and network which allows clients to access servers. Yeah, thank you very much, Saddam. Exactly. Yeah, you see here, as we say, Saji, the definition provided by Saji also include some ideas about it. You see here we have the servers, clients, also you see here when we say resources and services, in fact it's through the network. That's why we have these 3 major components. Okay, thank you very much, Saddam. Okay, so we'll continue. Later, the 8th one, we ask us to draw and describe the graphic presentation of MVC framework. Here, this one is also in our assignment for the MVC framework. It's also in the 6th chapter. We have the description of this framework. Can you just precise what represented by MVC? M, what is it? V, what is it? And C, what is it? Model view controller. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Saddam. Exactly. So here you see we have the organization of the MVC. And you can find the graphic presentation of this framework. Also here it should be somewhere before. Yeah, here you see MVC. Okay, this is for this one. And then for the nerve, for 9, yeah, exercise 9. We need to describe the difference between verification and validation. Okay, this one we have also done it multiple times to differentiate between verification and validation. We say that for the verification, we ask the question, are we building the product right? The software should conform to its specification. And for the validation, are we building the right product? The system or the software should do what the user really requires. This part is in normally it's in the chapter of testing. Yeah, software testing. So it should be in the 8th chapter. Yeah, you can find it easily as we have really mentioned it for several times already. Then we have the 10th exercise. Draw the graphic presentation of software testing process. Okay, this one. We ask us to draw the graphic presentation. So normally you can also find it in the PDF. The same question. The software testing process normally it includes 4 activities. Yeah, could you just list these 4 activities? A software testing process is in the 8th chapter. You can easily find it in the PDF. The graphic presentation of software testing process, or else you can tell me just in the PDF which page of the PDF can we find the graphic presentation of software testing process? Which page can we find? Yeah, which page of the PDF can we find the graphic presentation of software testing process? No. You see here, we ask us to draw the graphic presentation of software testing process. This is the question. And I give you some indices. That means here we can find the answer in the 8th chapter. Requirements analysis? No. In the 8th chapter, that means in this slide. And normally you have it in this PDF. And could you tell me on which page can we find the graphic presentation of software testing process? Yeah, on which page? Regression testing. You can find the answer directly in the slides. Yeah. Prepare test data. Yeah, thank you very much, Kaya. Yeah, you found it. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Kaya. Yeah, it's here. We have these 4 activities as said by Kaya. Design test cases, prepare test data, run program with the test data, and compare results to test cases. You see here, we have this graphic presentation of software testing process. That's why normally these questions, we can find them in the PDF, but you should at least you should know the existence of them and where are they. Okay. Thank you, Kaya. Yeah, you have perfectly found it and listed them. Uh, exchange. What? Shibli, are you here? Can you hear us? No. For today, I have noted three absence. Ken, Guaso, and Kamruzama. If you have some doubts, don't hesitate to tell me. Yeah, Ken, Guaso, and Kamruzama. Okay. Have a break of 10 minutes, please. Yeah. Jahi. He was here, but later he was disappeared. We have talked about the 10th one, the graphic presentation of software testing process. Now we'll continue with the 11th question. Explain the four key features of testing in extreme programming. Extreme programming we have used it in the third assignments. Yeah, if you have keep it in memory. In the third assignment, we have talked about the extreme programming, and in our classes, we have talked about it in the third chapter, the extreme programming. So when we ask us about the four key features of testing in this kind of test, in the extreme programming, we can also find it easily in the third chapter, the slide of third chapter. Key features of testing in extreme programming. We have the test first development, incremental test development from scenarios, user involvement in test development and validation, use of automated testing frameworks. You see here, yeah, these four testing features. And then for the 12th exercise, we ask us the three types of non-functional requirements. This one, if everything goes well, it was also in the assignment, in the fourth assignment. We can also easily find it in chapter 4 for non-functional requirements. In chapter 4, do you remember this one? Do you remember the three types of non-functional requirements? Yeah, organizational. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Roy. Yeah, organizational requirements is one of these three types, and the others external. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Roy and Ramnak. Exactly these three types of non-functional requirements. You see, they are in the third chapter. No, they are in the fourth chapter. It's here. Yeah, these three types of non-functional requirements. Product requirements which specify that the delivered product must behave in a particular way, like execution speed, reliability, organizational requirements, which are a consequence of organizational policies and procedures, like process standards used, implementation requirements, etc., and external requirements which arise from factors which are external to the system and its development process, like interoperability requirements, legislative requirements, etc. during the exam, if we have some exercises like this, you can, yeah, precise them like this. It's enough. And then we have the next exercises. It's the 13th exercises. We ask us to talk about 3 techniques for requirements discovery. It was also in the assignments, in the 5th assignments. Yeah. And in the 4th chapter. Yeah, exactly. User scenarios. We'll see here together for the 5th assignment. It in the 4th chapter, and we will see the different 4th chapter normally is here. Yeah, you see interviewing. It is one techniques, um, and then we have scenarios. We have use cases. We have also ethnography. Yeah, these 4. During the class, we have talked about uh, these 4 techniques. Okay, thank you, Roy. You have also memorized scenarios, and perhaps you have confused between use cases. Some yeah, and ethnography. I think you see ethnography. We have talked about it in previous exercises also. And then we have the 14th exercise. You see, we're finish it rapidly. For the 14th exercise, we may develop we may develop different models to represent the system from different perspectives. Please explain briefly the 4 perspectives introduced during the class. Yeah, this exercise was also in the assignment, in the 6th assignment. Do you remember? In the 6th one. Some ideas for these 4 perspectives. Okay, you have sent Saddam. You have sent. Oh, yeah. It was like, yeah. It is exactly what you have stated in your assignments. I don't know where have you found these perspectives, but it's quite different from what we have introduced during the class. Also, yeah, do you remember I have shown the exercises? It's not these what we have talked about. You see what you have mentioned, biological, cognitive, behavioral, and social cultural perspective. These are quite different from our, yeah, for our software system. It's quite different. It's not these 4 4 perspectives. Um, it in the 5th chapter. Okay, I'll find this PDF for you. Um, yeah, Saddam, you have correctly found your assignment, but yeah, I remembered you have these answers for your assignments, but it's not these 4 perspectives. It's yeah, it is the main. In fact, it is the main topics in this chapter. And you have seen it's here. These four perspectives: an external perspective, an interaction perspective, a structural perspective, and a behavioral perspective. We have these different perspectives. They correspond to different contents of this chapter. We have the context model, interaction models, structural models, and the behavioral models. Is it clear? These four perspectives. Yeah. Hosan, you have structural perspective and interaction perspective. Yeah, you can find it easily in the PDF. And then for the 15th question, testing may be carried out at three levels of granularity during development. Please explain these three levels. Oh, this question is an old question. We have mentioned it for at least 5 times, I think. So any ideas about this one? Three levels of granularity. It is in the 8th chapter, software testing. Yeah, unit testing. Yeah, Ramnath, you're right. Unit testing, component testing, and system testing. Yeah, thank you very much, Ramnath and Roy. Yeah, okay. Uh, you see, this question is quite familiar. But and we ask us to explain them. Yeah, so you can yeah try to explain a little each level of granularity. Okay, for the 16th question, please explain the three types of interface error that can occur during the component interface testing. The same, it is also another question. And we have said that if we have to pay attention to three types and four classes. Three classes of interface error. Do you remember? These three classes or three types. Yeah, thank you, Ramnak. Interface misuse, misunderstanding, and timing errors. Yeah, we have these three classes of interface errors. Yeah, when don't forget that if you have this kind of exercises during the exam, not only listing them like this, it's better that you can have some explanation of each type. For example, for interface misuse, um, yeah, we can explain it a calling component, calls some other component and makes a later in the use of its interface. Yeah, exactly. You can find it in as you can find it in the PDF. Oh, yeah, it's here. It should be here. Yeah, you see, we have some explanations, some brief explanations. You can also, yeah, explain these each of them like this. You give the explanations like this. Is so easy now. Okay, thank you, Ramnak. And then we have other exercises. The first one is to use diagrams to describe each general process model. Um, yeah, the first here for this question, we need to know at first how many general model how many general process models are there? How many general process models have we introduced? Yeah, here. These three, we have these three general process model. And when we ask us to use diagrams to describe each of them, you see here for these three general process models, we have each of them have some diagram, have a diagram. It is also in your assignment, in the second assignment. Roy, you have done it perfectly. You have also designed by yourself. Do you remember? Is it clear for this exercise? Diagrams to describe each general process model. And yeah, and Kaya has designed by itself too. Yeah, I think I have said that it's better to design it to draw it by yourself. And I found that Roya and Kaya who have drawn it perfectly. And then for the second exercise, we ask us, yeah, the requirements document has a diverse set of users, ranging from the senior management of the organization that is paying for the system to the engineers responsible for developing the software. Please list some possible users of the document and explain how they use the document. For this one, it was also in the assignment, in the fourth assignment. Possible users of the document. And we explain how they use the document. Product requirements organization, external. I'm sorry, Hosan. Would you talk about? Um, Here we talk about the exercise two. This one, the possible users of the requirements document and explain how they use the requirements document. It's here. The answer is here in the PDF on page 22 of the PDF chapter 4. And then for the third one, we ask us to explain the four process activities included in the requirements in elicitation and analysis process, and then draw a diagram to show the relationship between them. This one is also in the assignment, or yeah, in the assignment and in our PDF too. Yeah, I think we have just seen them not long ago. It is in the fourth chapter. It's uh, it's here. Yeah, here. It's for the exercise 3. You see, we have requirements discovery, requirements classification and organization, prioritization and negotiation, and specification. We have just talked about it before the break of today. Then for the fourth exercise, we ask us to talk about the 5 diagram types of UML. This one, it was also in the 6th assignment. And in our slide, it should be in the 5th, yeah, in the 5th chapter. 5th one, I haven't yeah, it's here. In the 5th chapter, it should be somewhere, yeah, here. Page 6 of the 5th chapter, page 6. For the 5th one, 6th one, and yeah, for the 5th and the 6th exercises, you can also find them easily in your assignments. Do you have some idea or some questions still here? Then, yeah, as you have already received the revision exercises, please be attentive to these exercises. We have already talked about them. Many and there are many exercises who have appeared in your assignments. Yeah, it is the last class today. So from next week, you will be free during these 3 times. The whole PDF. What do you mean? The exercises I have sent it. Also, for each chapter, I have also sent them in the WeChat group. Mm, okay, if you have no other questions, perhaps we'll stop here. Um, I don't know when will be the exam, but these exercises normally, if you can finish them, these exercises by yourself, there's no problem for the exam. So perhaps I will say bye to you. Have a good time. For the detailed information about the exam, we'll see later. Perhaps me, perhaps others will inform you. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Have a good time. Thanks. You too. Bye.